What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the one and only Fragrance Fraternity. Thanks for spending some time with me. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy fragrance content and you want to be a part of the best damn smelling fraternity in the world. You can do so. Just hit that like and subscribe, and you're going to be on your way to joining us here at the Fragrance Fraternity. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully this video finds you in good health. Hopefully you are out there keeping it fragrant, as we like to do. All right, so today I had a member of the fraternity, Mr. Vance. Shout out to you, sir, if you're watching. He requested some designer fragrances for fall, so that's what we're going to be doing. This is technically my part 2 of designer fragrances for fall, but I love my designers. You guys love your designers, so let's talk about some excellent fragrances. They're going to have you smelling just fantastic in this fall weather. Let's start here, see if we can't crack the code with Armani code Parfum. Still my personal favorite in the line. There's a decent amount to choose from, so I recommend you get your nose on them, and maybe a different one works better for you. Some are a little bit fresher, some are a little bit sweeter, some have a suede note, some are, just different takes on that DNA, so figure out which one works for you. For me, this is still my personal favorite, and if your taste happens to align with mine, a lot of the times this will probably be your favorite as well. Has a really nice iris note that comes in here that kind of modernizes the Armani Code DNA if you're familiar with it. It's got a Tonka bean presence to it. It's got like a chic kind of sexiness, luxurious type feeling that it evokes every time I wear this. I really, it has feelings of upscale, of class, of a grandiose type nature, while not coming off super challenging and something that you couldn't wear to the office or you couldn't make your signature scent. And something that really would work in a variety of situations, dressed up or dressed down. You can get a lot of use out of this. Performance, for me personally, I've kind of noticed that it's a bit average, although I have heard from others that they get better performance. So it's most likely a case of anosmia and just going nose blind to this fragrance. But I absolutely fell in love with it the first time I smelled it. If you enjoy that Armani Code DNA, maybe you're a bit of an older gentleman and you were wearing the original eau de toilette for many years and you're looking for something a little bit more modern with still some of that DNA infused in there, you may want to check out Armani Code Parfum. And bonus, this is a magnetic cap, so gotta love that. All right, let's keep it going here with a fragrance that I will always want to keep in my collection. Certainly one of my favorite fragrances of all time, probably in my top 5, not just of designers, just ever. This is Nuit de Lhomme by Yves Saint Laurent. You can see the dent does not lie. This is actually my second bottle of this. This is such an addicting fragrance, guys, and you may find that you really love it just like I do. A nice spicy cardamom is really the star of the show, and it's perfect for date nights. It's perfect for cooler temperatures. I personally like to use it when I'm just winding down at night. It really kind of puts me in this chill, masculine mindset, and one that I oftentimes will grab after a long day of work, and I just want something that's gonna uplift me and put me in a good mood, I guess, after a long day. This is one that I always reach for in those situations, and that's basically where this dent comes from, a lot of it. So a fantastic scent profile. If you're into fragrances for men at all, and you have not smelled this one yet, I urge you go out, try to get it on skin, experience the spicy cardamom magic that is YSL Nuit de Lhomme. Such a great fragrance, guys. Do not miss out on the experience of the Nuit de Lhomme at some point in your life. All right, next one up is a new fragrance that is just found its way to the collection here. This is CK Defy Parfum. I was really happy to get this one for $40 at Marshall's. Got my nose on it when it originally came out last year and didn't want to pay full retail. I pretty much never do. And was kind of hoping and waiting to see this come into discounters, which I was able to find at a Marshall. $40 for 100 ml, I think is a fantastic price. This is a modern smelling fragrance. It kind of, if you took Bad Boy, the eau de toilette from Carolina Herrera, and you mixed it with the Y DNA, that's essentially what you're gonna get here. Doesn't have that apple sweetness of the Y, rather it uses a pink pepper to provide that sweetness, but you still get a nice cacao base to it. That will maybe remind you of Bad Boy, the eau de toilette, most specifically. So if you like your blue fragrances and you may, value something that kind of has like a chocolatey but still very wearable, easygoing type of appeal to it. If you're a fan of the Y DNA, if you're a fan of, Bleu de Chanel, Sauvage, a lot of these blue fragrances. This may be redundant for you, but I particularly enjoy the style of fragrance. I get a lot of use and versatility out of it, especially living in California. These style of fragrances tend to work great, and I really do enjoy the kind of chocolatey cacao base that this one provides. So you may love it as much as I do. Fantastic performance, fantastic projection, a lot of value when you can get this for $40 at Marshall's. I highly recommend it. It's given Dylan Blue really a run for its money as far as being, you know, an affordable, great blue fragrance. Check out Defy. This is the Parfum. You still get a little bit of that dustiness of the DNA, and if the EDP was a little bit too leathery for you, you may want to check out the Parfum. Goes in a different direction, but still very usable in a variety of situations. People are going to tell you you smell great. Anyway, next up we have from the house of Prada. This is Prada Black. Pretty interesting fragrance. It's got a bit of a soapiness, as you would, you know, often associate with the Prada name. A lot of the Prada fragrances do have this soapiness that comes across in their wearing, and it's mainly attributed to the type of lavender they use. I believe it's kind of like their signature lavender that infuses a bit of soapiness into their fragrances. Always great quality with Prada. This has, you know, kind of a date night appeal to it. It is a little bit more of an evening time scent. However, I have worn this at work in more professional settings, and I think it's kind of underrated for its usability in professional kind of office settings as well. And the great thing about these Prada fragrances are they last a long time, but they tend to sit a little bit closer to the skin. So a lot of times in those office situations, you don't want a fragrance that's going to project really far and fill up your whole space. You know, maybe just a 1 to 2 foot radius is usually what you're looking for in those maybe more kind of reserved office settings. So Prada Black is excellent, not only for date nights. I think you can definitely use this in professional office settings. You're going to smell great. You're going to kind of stand out. And if you want a dark kind of soapy fragrance, not dark in like a gothic sense or like an incense type of way or an earthy way, more like a black bar of soap perhaps. So if you ever had the black ice little tree fragrance things in your car, I know I pretty much used those for a long time. You get some similarities between that and this. Obviously this is going to be like a higher quality smell, but if you enjoy those black ice little trees that hang from your car in your rearview mirror, you may like Prada Black. I do pick up some similarities as far as, you know, the dark soapiness that they both provide. So Prada Black, you're gonna probably really love that one if you enjoy the other Prada fragrances that feature kind of that soapy accord. All right, next up we have is the Johnny Depp special, baby. Dior Sauvage, the Parfum for fall. A little bit more refined, a little bit more nuanced, a little bit deeper, a little bit richer than the Eau de Toilette that you may already know, because it's kind of like one of the best-selling fragrances ever, right? I really like the Parfum, especially for the fall season when you want something with a little bit more depth and complexity without straying so far away from the Sauvage DNA like the Elixir does. That goes in a really different direction. This one still ties into that signature Sauvage fresh blue shower gel type of DNA, while infusing a bit of, you know, sweetness and a bit more character to the scent profile, making it a little bit more interesting than just like a fresh blue shower gel type of scent. Although you still get a little bit of that here. I really love the Parfum, so that's about all I can say. This is basically one of the best blue fragrances ever created, in my opinion. If you enjoy a fresh fragrance, if you enjoy these kind of ambroxan heavy fragrances with a bit of spice and, again, lavender coming through, you may want to get your nose on Sauvage Parfum, and you may find you really love it just like I do. Let's keep it blue here for just a minute with Ralph's Club Parfum. Make sure it's the Parfum. It does smell a little bit more refined and a little bit better, just frankly better than the original EDP. So you're going to get quite a nice aromatic experience here. It's a blue fragrance that has a little bit more depth and complexity, kind of similar to the way that Sauvage Parfum infuses a little bit more nuance to the DNA. Same kind of thing here. Takes that Ralph's Club DNA that you may or may not be familiar with and just gives it a little bit more refinement, a little bit more class. There's a bit of vetiver in the base and a really nice aromatic experience up top. Great performance on this one for the first hour or two, projection rather. Really pushes off the skin and will just have an incredible scent cloud around you. almost a guaranteed compliment getter in the first 2 hours because it projects so heavily and it is so appealing and so lovely to smell in the air. After that, it does tend to sit a little bit closer to the skin, which I'm kind of finding with these Parfum flankers that tends to be the case. Although it does radiate quite nice, it does sit a little bit closer to the skin. So again, a perfect fragrance to wear to the office as a daily type driver. It doesn't smell too youthful, has a nice sort of complexity about it without coming across too challenging or difficult to wear in an everyday type of situation. All right, now let's go to something that you may want to actually reserve for a little bit more of a formal occasion, something that you may be wearing a tuxedo to or a suit and tie, at least with Dior Homme Intense. Everyone's favorite waxy iris fragrance. Well, maybe not everyone's favorite, but it does get a lot of love for really good reason because it is amazing. Now, do not let the dent fool you. This is kind of a newer acquisition for me. So as we are getting into fall, I am out here in California. It doesn't get too cold to where, you know, I'm always going to be grabbing my heavy stuff. So thankfully, I, you know, don't always get the opportunity just because the weather is so good. But I love this one, especially in the evening time. If you are a fan of that waxy makeup lipstick bag type of iris, as it's often described, this is one that you must get your nose on. I do actually get a little bit of the ISOE Super as well that you find in Dior Homme 2020 that gives it this pop, this sparkle, this effervescence. Really just a masterpiece of perfumery. Best way I can describe it. Great performance here. Alluring, luxurious, sexy, interesting, mysterious. Really something that will set you apart. And not a lot of dudes out there are super comfortable wearing iris. So if you are and you rock it with confidence, this can really make a statement of sorts when you're wearing Dior Homme Intense. A beautiful fragrance and really a special creation. Very happy and blessed to own this bottle and to be able to wear the real thing whenever I please. Let's go here now to something a little bit sweeter, a little bit more fun and perhaps youthful with Invictus Victory. This is the Elixir. I know it looks kind of difficult to tell on camera, but there is a dark blue gradient that goes to black, which is indicative of the Elixir flanker. The regular Victory just is all black, which is kind of how it looks on camera. Anyway, a vanilla forward fragrance. So for you vanilla lovers, I didn't forget about you. This is probably my favorite vanilla fragrance in my collection. You get a bit of a resinous feel as well. Enormous performance, enormous projection. Be careful on the trigger. You may overdo it with this one. You could really get out of hand pretty fast. Definitely want to save this one for later in the fall season as you begin to experience more of that cooler weather. But let me tell you, in the dead of those cool nights, those cool fall nights, you get some Victory Elixir in your life, you're going to be feeling and smelling amazing, and the people around you are likely to let you know about it as well, because this just captures people's interest, it captures their attention, and it may work wonders for you. I know it has for me. So love this one. Get your nose on it. Invictus Victory Elixir for the fall time. Just a stunner. All right, let's go now to the house. Well, actually, there's two Paco Rabanne, so let's keep it going with Paco Rabanne. This is 1 million Lucky. A very kind of attention-grabbing bottle here. Hard to miss when you see it at the Macy's counter. So it may catch your eye like it did mine when I first tried it. This is the version with the black back. There are some newer bottles that have a clear back, so just be aware of that. If you get one where the back is black, that doesn't mean you got a fake. It's just a rebottling, but the fragrance is still the same from what I can tell. I've smelled both versions. So this one you get a really interesting fragrance here. Probably the most interesting one that we've talked about so far. Still maintains that sweetness as you would assume with a Paco Rabanne. It is quite sweet. But you also get a bit of hazelnut. You get a plum fruitiness where that sweetness is coming from that really sets it over the top and gives it some uniqueness and interest that you may not find in other fragrances. Plum is a note that isn't used all that often, and when it's pulled off and executed as beautifully as it is here, it really can just set you off. A fragrance that really is just it's just a stunner. That's really no other way to put it. It's just completely stunning. If you've never tried it, I really highly recommend you get your nose on it, especially if you care at all for sweet fragrances at all. This is one of the best sweet fragrances for men ever. What else can I say about this? Plum, a little bit of this hazelnut feel, and doesn't really smell like the 1 million line per se, kind of goes its own direction. So don't expect to get really anything that reminds you of the original. Maybe the same sort of wearability. You may wear them in the same situations and you may find them to be used in the same occasions. But other than that, not too much similarity in the way that they smell. 1 million, lucky. It's kind of a fan favorite over here at the Fragrance Fraternity for good reason. All right, last but certainly not least, wanted to throw a more affordable fragrance in here, and you know, got to keep the Banana Republic sponsorship going with Tobacco and Tonka Bean, everybody. This is arguably the best fragrance that you can get for $20. It pops up at Ross, Burlington's, all these different places. And if you see it out there and you enjoy a really nice vanilla with a good gourmand experience, almost like a piece of cake, definitely want to check out this one. The tobacco doesn't come across too prominently, doesn't dominate the fragrance. The blend is really great here. It's really mainly about that vanilla and the sort of gourmand kind of dessert-like fashion that it comes across. Pretty unisex fragrance here, so you have to be okay with that. Quite sweet as well, but the sweeter fragrances really work in the cooler weather for me, and I like to recommend them to you as well. Once the temperature comes down, the sweetness comes up. So Tobacco and Tonka Bean from Banana Republic, my favorite from this Icon line, and a stunning fragrance. I think you will be absolutely shocked at the quality that you're going to get here of a fragrance that only costs $20. When you smell it, you may find yourself in shock. I know that I was. All right, that's going to be it for today. Those are 10 more designer fragrances. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Let me know down below in the comments what you are looking forward to wearing this fall from the designer side. I'd love to hear about what you guys are rocking, so just let me know about that. And more content coming soon. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video at the Fragrance Fraternity, the best smelling fraternity in the world. Got to give it up to God for allowing us to be fragrant and live in the fragrance space. Right. All right. Awkward ending, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace out.